Imagine living in an ancient place. Ancient, that means old, very, very old. So old that the mountains that were once taller than the snow-covered Alps of Switzerland have been worn down to rolling hills by millions of years of erosion from rain, wind, gravity, and life. And imagine a river, a watershed that's among the oldest in the world, one that some scientists think may be more than 325 million years old. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in such a place? Some of you may have already guessed that this is exactly where we live. The Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina, and the river is the French Broad River. Pearson's Falls, between Tryon and Saluda in Polk County, North Carolina, is a protected glen, a cove, a long, deep valley with a waterway running through it. A picturesque, beautiful, ancient natural setting.
And look at the size of that leaf. Woo-hoo!
Sit back with some third graders from Tryon Elementary School for a visit to Pearson's Falls. We will take a look at this old place from the bottom of the glen on up to the falls. At the first stop, we find that there are some old traditions at Pearson's Falls, even if they are new here. Take a look at this. You might be wondering why those plants are on the rooftop. Well, for centuries in many cultures, people have used soil and plants for insulation on the roof. That keeps the building cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. And waterless toilets, where human waste is caught in a large basin below to disintegrate or compost for use as fertilizer when it's safe. A way that's also been used for centuries, and it's environmentally friendly. Using a composting system protects both the water of Colt Creek, which runs into the Pacolet River, and the well, where we get our water for our fountains and buildings. Next, we will learn about the many trees at Pearson's Falls and ways to use them. Many of these uses were first known by the Cherokee, who lived in these mountains for thousands of years. All trees have some sort of seed or nut. There are 35 species of trees known at Pearson's Falls. Boiled, cracked, and mashed acorns were used for flour to make bread. Mashed buckeyes were put in slow-moving pools and rivers where the poisons found in the nuts stunned the fish that could be scooped up in nets for food. Other tree nuts, leaves, and flowers were crushed and used as dyes for coloring clothing. Biodiversity. It's a big word and a very important one. Its simplest definition means the number of living things that are found in a particular area. That's all the plants and animals that live in one space. The mountains around this glen protected biodiversity over many centuries. The ice in winter helps break up the rocks. Then it warms to become water that sprays over the plants nearby. And then, when it gets warmer, it evaporates into the air. This is known as humidity on really hot days, which lets us all know that air is not empty but contains molecules. In this case, that also helps plants grow. The biodiversity in this glen and nearby mountains rivals the most diverse forests on Earth. Only the tropical rainforests have more. Isn't that cool? Unique animals like salamanders, and there are 8 species in the glen, and plants like Trillium, there are 7 species at Pearson's Falls, have survived here for millions of years. These plants and animals have a hard time moving and migrating when things get bad, when climate changes. And protected places like the glen have allowed them to survive through those changes in the past. Trillium is easy to remember because it has its parts in threes. It has 3 leaves, 3 sepals, 3 petals. It even has anthers in threes. There's 6 of them. 2 times 3 is 6, and it has a 3-parted fruit down in the center. Ferns are among the most ancient plants on the planet. They're so ancient that they don't even have flowers. Instead, they reproduce by spores. There are 13 different kinds of ferns at Pearson's Falls. Just a few are the Christmas ferns, rattlesnake ferns, and the strange walking ferns. As you'll see from these photos, many beautiful flowers, birds, and other creatures live here. In the spring, 190 different types of blooming wildflowers make this one of the most beautiful places to visit in our mountains. In addition, there are 39 species of birds in the glen, along with some mammals like black bear and deer, and there's even snakes here. The waterfall is 90 feet tall, one of the tallest in western North Carolina. Isn't it amazing how the power and force of water and gravity have caused these rocks to tumble down the creek to the lowest point? Gravity pulls on all things on Earth. Eventually, everything's going to fall down, so it's no wonder they eventually ended up here. This is one of the most beautiful waterfalls in our region, and a reminder of how fortunate we are to have such an abundance of water for all of our needs. Now that we've reached the top of the trail and have seen the falls, we will move back down the trail to the bottom of the glen to learn about the Tryon Garden Club's history.
This is a property that you want to save this
The
property.
Tryon Garden Club is an old organization, as garden clubs go. It formed in 1928 and is the fourth oldest garden club in North Carolina. It's been taking care of Pearson's Falls since 1931, when the club bought the property from the Pearson family. Through visits such as this, you will learn about the beauty of the natural world. As young people, you can make a difference in protecting this beauty. You can share your knowledge with family and friends, and you can spread the word about respecting the living creatures and the water resources in our part of the world. We hope you will continue this tradition of protecting the natural world when you are grown, either right here in the Blue Ridge Mountains or wherever your life takes you. As a parting gift to the Tryon Garden Club members who facilitated their visit, the students recite the Emily Dickinson poem, Autumn, published in 1890.
The morns are meager than they were, the nuts are getting brown, the berries cheeks are plumper, the rose is out of town. The maple wears a gayer scarf, the field a scarlet gown. As I should be old-fashioned, I'll put a trinket on.
So you see, our old natural world can be beautiful when, like Pearson's Falls, it's treasured and protected.